And welcome back to Lycan Studios. Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic day. So I'm actually bringing you a second upload for the day. So you guys know that I usually get all my news and stuff from Watchers on the Wall. Well, I was just kind of browsing around and see what all I've missed today, and I refreshed it, and it looks like 2 new articles have actually came out. So one is by Entertainment Weekly's James Hibbard. He's talking about his visits on the set, and he kind of like, I guess he did this a little while ago, but he's bringing about more details about it, and he's talking about an upcoming trailer. And then we also have an interview where Ian Glenn talks about basically how the HBO writers and everything like that kept the scripts and stuff on lockdown. So it's going to be pretty interesting, but we're basically just going to read through this word for word to keep it real nice and simple. And yeah, make sure to leave a like down below if you like these videos, and also be sure to leave me a question for the Q&A and check out the last video I just uploaded a few hours ago. Let's jump into it. So it says, Entertainment Weekly's cover story last month gave us an inside look into the final Game of Thrones season through the eyes of James Hibbard, but it appears that that report wasn't enough for him, so he's decided to reveal even more about his final set visits. Among his teases, there's the possibility that a first trailer for the final season could be coming soon, which is good news. It says EW's Game of Thrones weekly podcast, in which typically James Hibbard and Darren Frenick review the latest episode as a new season airs, just released a special episode. It says Hibbard retreads some of the same ground of his cover story, but with new, juicy details. It quotes him saying they spent 10 months filming 6 episodes of television, which would normally take about 2 months. That's pretty crazy. And a lot of that wasn't even the big battle stuff, but the regular scenes of 2 people talking in a hallway, he clarifies. If it's a scene that would normally take a day to shoot, they'd spend several days shooting because they're trying so hard to get every little thing right. So they do take after take from all sorts of different angles, so that in the editing, they have all kinds of different ways to piece it together. He then says, but the battle is the big sexy thing. He concedes it's shaping up to be what would probably almost certainly be the longest consecutive battle sequence in cinema history. They've looked to try and find other ones out there, like the one in Two Towers in The Lord of the Rings, which is about 40 minutes, and the one in the movie 13 Assassins, which is also around 40 minutes. He says this is going to be longer than 40 minutes. It's pretty nuts. Now, we've already covered this before, but he says the battle will naturally take place in Winterfell, and it called for a much grander Stark Castle than we've ever seen. I'll put up a picture right now. According to Hibbard, the crew was up for the challenge. They massively expanded the Winterfell set, he says. You can wander around, point the camera any direction, and it shows more Winterfell. One of the directors pointed out that even in a big-budget Marvel or Star Wars movie, they usually only build what the actors are going to stand directly in front of and fill in the rest with green screen. But for this set, and a few others too, they built it as a 360-degree set, so you don't have to fill it in with special effects. You don't have to favor one particular angle, and you can have multiple cameras following people around. You can do unusual angles and come up with different things on the day of shooting, so it allows a lot more creativity and it helps out the actors. No acting required. They're running around these sets, fighting with fake blood on the snow flying everywhere, torches burning, fires and smoke. It feels like you're literally right there. With that being said, Hibbard saw much more than grand spectacle. There's been so much focus on the spectacularness of the battles, but they're not skimping on the one-on-one scenes and the character scenes. I think people are going to be surprised about how intimate the final season is, in addition to the spectacular stuff that you're expecting. He says, what you want in any final season is the things to be unexpected but also make sense. That's key. He concludes, so you don't want anything to surprise you for surprise's sake. You want everything to feel earned and to look back and go, okay, yeah, I can see how they were building to that. And from that, I know from the final season, it does that. Hibbard also discusses the emotional table read, which was thoroughly covered in the original report, though he adds, speculatively, that it might have been filmed for a future Blu-ray extra or the like, as well as the heightened security on set and the anxiety around his secret Season 8 knowledge is causing him, or the anxiety it is causing him, a feeling he describes as carrying around the pop culture nuclear codes in your head. This results in a hilarious tangent about a session Hibbert had with a therapist who just so happened to be a Game of Thrones fan. You can imagine how that went, or better yet, listen to the episode. I'll link it down below. And finally, he talks about a trailer may be coming quite soon, which might have something to do with an interview he just published with Deadwood producer Carolyn Strauss, who isn't only producing the exciting Deadwood film, but also Game of Thrones. The new season is looking fantastic, he says. It's really kind of staggering and an accomplishment, and we still have a lot of work to do on those as well. And actually, that was Strauss that said that. When asked about when we can expect a full trailer for the final season, she says, I gotta believe something is coming out before too long. So yeah, guys, it sounds like we are going to be getting a trailer very soon. And I mean, if you think about it, we're going on only being 4 months away, so you gotta imagine it is coming up very soon. So next up, this report actually is pretty funny because I'm currently covering the plot leaks, which was the earlier video for today. And I've been telling you guys that there's no way that HBO is letting anybody leak the plots, especially not after last season. So when I tell you guys that if you believe a plot leak, it's pretty silly, it is. And now we're going to use Ian Glenn to back me up. So in this article, it says, it might go without saying, and in fact, it may have been said already, but Ian Glenn, or Jorah Mormont, put it out there nonetheless. The producers of Game of Thrones are really, really worried about Season 8 spoilers getting out. It says, Variety first reported on a BBC radio interview today in which Glenn talks about the lengths the show went to in order to keep the possibility of spoilers to a minimum, which included shooting fake scenes and forbidding hard copies of the script. They're absolutely paranoid now about anyone finding out anything about the series and spoiling it. And what's funny is, there's certain YouTubers who will read, spoilers and they're like, oh yeah, this guy took a picture of the script and stuff. Well, it's on iPads. We'll go into it. He says they're absolutely paranoid now about anyone finding out anything about the series and spoiling it. We weren't allowed a written word on a page. So yeah, it wasn't even documented on a piece of paper at all. He says everything was accessed through iPads with different security you had to get through to access it, which caused a problem for the actors, I have to say. He says the extra security couldn't have been too much of a problem as the cast did sit down and read the entire arc of the story from beginning to end right through over a course of the day. Glenn said, noting that it was the first season the cast had ever done a full read-through in such a short amount of time. So really the only way you could get information about it is talking directly to the cast. They would have to tell you something because there's no way that they're going to give extras any type of storyline plot. You know what I mean? So there's just no way this stuff's been leaked. Now, I do understand people being far away from the set and like taking videos and pictures and stuff. Like we can see the scorpions, we can see them building Winterfell and stuff like that. But as far as actual like dialogue and actual things that are set in stone going to happen, we have no idea. And then it talks about reading through the storyline. It was, as you might imagine, an emotional experience. He says there were a lot of tears that day, and it's been a season of that because it's been a season of farewells and finishes. He said that Kit, if he wasn't lying, hadn't even read it, so he was reading it on that day for the first time. Then it says, like other cast members who have been giving interviews over the last 18 months, Glenn, to HBO's great relief, was tight-lipped about the details of Season 8, except to say that fans won't be disappointed because these 6 episodes are absolutely phenomenal. The writers really, really came up trumps, and the way they pulled it all together was a real writing task. So basically, like everybody else, he's saying that there's no way he's going to tell you anything, and it's going to be absolutely crazy. I'm sure these actors would get sued so hard if they gave any details about it. So I just want to tell you guys, like, plot leaks, they're just not real. It's not happening. Not for this season. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for the 2 articles. Hopefully you did enjoy this. Make sure to leave a like down below if you did, and leave a question for the Q&A video coming out pretty soon. Now, I do know that I am covering plot leaks and stuff like that because it's still fun to do, but I just get so many people that are really believing it, and I don't want to be one of these YouTubers that puts out like plot leak stuff, and I'm like, oh, this could definitely be true, because it's not. It 100% isn't. If you're a YouTuber and you say that stuff, it's just clickbaiting. That's all you're trying to do is just get some hype out, and I'm not about it. I would rather say, hey, this is fan fiction, but we can talk about it because it's cool. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. You can do whatever you want to do. But, yeah, this has been Lycan Studios. I'll see you guys in that next video. Like I said, make sure to leave me a question, and, yeah, peace.